I love the Seinfeld background. It's awesome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show. What we do here every day since the coronavirus, which is such a fun time, has started to all get together and see your favorite Cellar comics live from their homes. And tonight is no different. We have some lovely, a lovely panel this evening. Some of my favorite folks. I'll start because I don't know who goes left to right or anybody on their screen, but I'll start with Veronic Mosley. Very nice to see you.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Coming from her house today. I can't even believe it. It looks so nice. I
neat.
thought it was a background like mine.
No. This is real. Yes.
Very nice. Myq Kaplan is joining us from the Tonight Show. His podcast is Broccoli and Ice Cream.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And Tex Alexandro, who I haven't seen since our charity event.
That's right.
Remember, we like to help children. What have you guys been doing? Nothing. Tex
Why not kill mine, I think.
Tex Alexandro has a new comedy special, Stay at Home Comedian, which everybody can see. It's on YouTube as well. So after this, go watch that.
And I have an even more recent one coming out on Thursday.
Really? How are you coming up with these ideas? Oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
Well, the Stay at Home Comedian one was just done from live streams, but the one that's coming out Thursday was the one that I was working on prior to all of this happening.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're putting out something that you had content before this happened.
That's right.
And then you're putting it out.
That's right.
Speaking of which, actually, because the last time I hosted was, I guess, Saturday, Marina Franklin was on, and they're airing her, just a little announcement, they're airing her special Single Black Female on the CW network tomorrow, which is the same network as Riverdale. So
that's right.
I'm actually upset that they're postponing The Flash, but I'll watch it anyway, I guess, to support. But I don't know.
Dave, tell the folks about what we did. We helped out with the Imagine Society.
Yeah, Jeannie Gaffigan, Jim Gaffigan's wife, and we helped these starving children. I'm kidding. It's the exact opposite, right? These privileged children who were very, very kind and trying to help out other, what would you call them? Not starving children. I don't know the word, but
it was starving artists helping privileged children.
Yeah, there was a lot of different things, and we were helping the groups. Ted, I don't know if you know what happened with mine. I don't know whether we talked about it after, but Mia and Ted and Marina and who else was with us? There was a fourth person, right?
Wally Collins was with us.
Wally Collins, that's right. And we all had groups of kids. You know, like you had the really young one. No, Wally had the really young ones, and then we had to do skits. And the kids I had were like 15 years old, and they just didn't want any part of me or anything. And they were goofing off the whole time, but they're evil children. They're very smart, evil, privileged children who know how to work the system. And our sketch was, they came, I said, oh, let's do it. I didn't know everybody was doing a sketch. And I said, oh, let's write, things that happen. And they came up with this idea to write words during Shakespearean times that were bullying. It was cyberbullying. That's right.
May I ask, is the way that you're helping by keeping these privileged kids off the streets where they aren't phoning the cops on Black people? Is that the way that you're helping?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Just where we can see them.
But they were when I was up there, we were using all these terms like, hey, sissy pants, hey, such and such. You could see Ginny's face going like, what the hell is this? I hate Dave Juskow. And then all of a sudden they turned it around and said, these are also bullying terms that were from Shakespearean times. And she just goes like this, oh, and I just took all the credit. These kids figured it out on their own. So
Can I say one more thing that it would have been great if I thought of earlier, but I'm doing what I can here. But it really just occurred to me that the thing that police sometimes will see a phone in a Black person's hand and think it's a dangerous gun, when in fact a phone in a white person's hand is a dangerous tool that will be dangerous to a Black person. So
wow,
there's
you're talking about the Karen in the Brambles.
That's just that one, I think, the isolated incident of the white person calling the cops on a Black person.
Yeah, my friend is he just actually works for Live PD, which just got canceled. he's an avid bird watcher, and he knew that guy, Cooper, really well. He said he's like the sweetest, nicest guy, which I guess everybody figured out. And, you know, this woman is obviously insane. Yeah. You know, and the way she did it, it's terrifying, you know, just like in a movie, like, he's coming now, you have to help me. Like, if he wasn't videotaping, he'd be through. His whole life would be ruined. Good thing he is well versed in watching. That's what he's been trained his whole life to watch birds, and I guess that transfers easily to humans, which are much larger and like that. Maybe doesn't know all their songs, but I am also glad that he's well. Yeah, well, me too. And I'm glad that lady
the UK, isn't that a derisive term for a female?
A bird?
Yeah, I think that's what they refer to.
In the breaks.
Right? In England, they call them birds.
That's right.
Bird watching.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's the thing. So if you put on a production of The Odd Couple, are you not allowed to call them birds any? Because I think the Pigeon Sisters. That's why they call them that. I think it's a derogatory term. I don't think their last name is Pigeon.
I would like to point out then during this time of Black Lives Matter that the panel does not reflect that Black
Well,
Lives
Tony Woods is supposed to be here, but he's always late anyway. I mean, that's his whole act. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to give him shit when he gets here, but that is his act. You know,
Tony's going to show up at like, what is it?
In about 20 minutes, probably.
9:20.
Hopefully, otherwise we're just here like trading in stereotypes about Black people. We're like, probably the Black person that we asked to be here is running late for sure. He's definitely gonna be guys. Tony.
Well, I mean, I even said at the beginning, I'm like, I know Tony will be late. I mean, that is his thing.
Oh yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's his opening joke, right? Does he still do that? That was my favorite joke, where he just would sit on stage. Nobody knows what's going on. And he's like, whoa, I'm sorry. When you get to work, you just start working right away. Is that what happens? Like,
right.
Legendary.
I remember, Aruba Ray Ellen has the gig down in Aruba. And he said that Tony's room was like literally 50 feet from the stage, and he still wasn't.
Still was late.
He still was late. He was like right down the hall. Yeah.
Can I tell you guys, one time I was performing at, I don't know if it's still there, the Comedy Mix, I believe, in Vancouver, Canada. And I like the situation where the club is in like the basement of the hotel. It's like a really nice room, but it's in the hotel where you're staying. And in between two shows on like either the Friday or Saturday, I went up to my room to like take a brief nap, and they called me and they were like, "You're on in 5 minutes. Are you coming back?" And so just want to let people know that white people can also be late to shows when they're in the building and we're already at a show previously.
Yeah, that can happen. I've never been to Vancouver ever.
Love it.
I mean, I've really been out of Jersey.
Oh,
it's very rare for me to travel.
Where
anywhere.
in Jersey? Where are you in Jersey?
Well, no, I'm in New York now, but I only been here in New Jersey. I don't travel very often. I'm from Edison originally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Veronica, what's your New Jersey connect?
I grew up in Morris County. So I grew up in a town called Succossana, which nobody can ever spell. And
is that near Morristown?
It's Morristown is like the main hub of the area, but it's like it's like suburbs, but then there's a lot of little farms and things like that too, near Chester, which is a good reference. But
western New Jersey almost.
Yeah, about 78 miles west of the city, as my dad used to say all the time to everybody. 78 miles.
Well, I mean,
I live. What's that?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
And now I live in Union, New Jersey. So I moved here in December.
I had traveled maybe 40 or 50 miles out of the city to Clinton, which is like on the Pennsylvania border. Yeah. And they love Trump over there. It's like going to Alabama. It was unbelievable that I was still in Jersey and only about, just an hour away from the city. And everybody's thoughts were different.
It's kind of like Long Island, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 50 miles one way or the other. And exactly. Yeah. It's surprising.
The whole country is, if you looked at a map of states, like all cities tend to be blue, like bluer than non-cities. So I've heard it said, I feel like I listen to Dan Savage's podcast a lot. So I think I'll cite him saying like the whole country is just like a bunch of red states with a bunch of blue dots in them. And but more people live in cities than not in cities. So that's why so many states go blue is because of the cities. But if you take away, if geographically, like by location, by by space, if you had to go by instead of population density, then it's almost all red with just like specks of blue.
Well, that's what I was saying when they had with the virus, and they were saying New York City is just covered in it. I'm like, well, it has the most people, and it probably has the most testing, and even though it technically doesn't, but it just has the most populated cities are going to carry the most populated virus, area and stuff like that. And I heard lately that a lot of one of the Dallas Cowboys, one of the Houston Texans, and Texas has been open for business all this time, right? That's what I had heard. I heard a lot of comics went down there to perform because they weren't doing any quarantining. Yeah. Mark Norman, I believe, went down there. That's why we can't invite him back.
I did just see an Instagram post today that a friend of mine, Zahid Devji, is I think featuring for Mark Norman this coming weekend, unless I saw the tweet or whatever way too late.
Texas?
So yeah, in Houston.
Yeah, he's been performing nonstop. It's like regular there for some reason, and now people are catching the virus.
Everything's bigger, including their corona spikes.
Well, I guess they have a lot more room to social distance, but I really don't think they've been doing that. But I don't have any proof.
So were you saying that a couple of athletes were diagnosed with it?
Just today as they're going to training camp. Now Ezekiel Elliott has it, and one of the guys from the Texans.
That's why I avoid playing sports altogether.
Yes.
Long game. My long game is not playing any games.
Like, where do you live now?
I am in Brooklyn.
From?
I'm broadcasting from Brooklyn. And I also grew up in New Jersey. My dad, in fact, lives in Union County, Scotch Plains right now.
Oh, that's where my sister lives. We were just saying that. My sister lives there right now.
Yeah, my mom is in Bergen County. I grew up in Livingston and then moved to Bergen. So, Ted, are you also from New Jersey?
I'm from Queens, but my wife is from Flemington, New Jersey.
Perfect.
Flemington
first. There's outlets there. That's awesome.
Plus, there was this unbelievable, this guy, Richie Knuckles, used to have a place out there with all those 80s video games, the arcade games. So we've been out there like multiple times, but then he kind of went insane. I hope he's not watching.
Richie Knuckles?
Yeah, his name is Richie Knuckles. And they had all the guys from, you ever see that documentary, The King of Kong? About those guys, you know what I'm talking, right? So it was all those guys that would show up there and everything. It was kind of fun. If you saw the documentary, it was very exciting. But they were all, and you couldn't even play Donkey Kong there because, you can't even begin to challenge them.
Right.
But they have the Donkey Kong kill screen coming up, so it's very exciting. Of course, you have to see the movie to understand that reference. But I play all those games. I have one. I can't show because I'm on a regular desktop, but I just bought one of those arcade games. They just have these new called 1-Up arcade games, which you can get for like $300, like the old-fashioned ones. And they have now Pac-Man and Galaga, and I have a golf game here. I got it just in time, to keep me company for the virus.
Oh, nice.
But I feel like everybody, Ted, you're living in Queens now?
Yeah, I'm in Astoria. My wife and
I don't you feel like everybody left us here to die? Everybody moved out. At least I know everybody moved out of Manhattan. There was nobody in my building. There were like 3 of us left. They all went to their summer homes, I guess.
It was noticeable in Astoria. The amount of cars was probably, if not halved, like close to it. Yeah, it was a lot of people took off.
Yeah, and left us here to die.
Have you guys wanted to leave Queens? Like, if you want to leave this, or Myq, to the city, or have you?
Well, Veronica, I think the last time I saw you at the Village Underground, we were talking about like looking for houses and stuff like that.
Yes, this is a great time to buy, by the way.
Right. So yeah, it's funny because like towards the, in more recent weeks, we kind of like upped the search again. We were looking like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Maybe even longer, I lose track of time, like probably 4 or 5 months ago. But then, with the pandemic, we were obviously stuck. But now, we're starting to kind of pick it up again. I mean, if anything, the pandemic only kind of intensified the feeling of like, maybe it's time to get out of the city,
Yeah,
so I think that's what I'm definitely thinking of.
I think it's really normal. I don't know. I mean, we moved because our rent was going to jump another $200 a month, and then, one of my friends suggested Union City, right? Because we had relatives who lived there. And then we just made a mistake and came to Union and looked at Union. And then we were like, oh, this is really great. And I was saying to Dave, that the cool thing about it is that I didn't want my daughter growing up in a bubble. And so what's cool about this area is it's like 35% white, 25% black, and the rest is just a mixed bag of people. But everybody's goal is the same. Like it's just such an interesting, we almost live in like some sort of utopian, weird society where everybody kind of gets along everybody's just family oriented and wants to have a good education for their kids. It's a really awesome. I really think you should look here. It's great.
The opposite of Union City. I think Union City is horrible.
It's
horrible.
like,
that's what I told her. That's why we're talking about two different things, right?
Yes. Union is lovely. Union is really nice. It's really sweet. If you want some tips, get in touch. I'll help you out.
Thank you.
Well, Liz just asked me if I am still going to Jersey to gamble, because that's what I was doing. I mean, I have my regular bookie here, but then I also go to Jersey to gamble. You know, Jersey has legal gambling. So I would take a city bike to the ferry, go to Hoboken, just the water, and just sit there and gamble like a moron.
Right.
I mean, I feel like an idiot doing it, but I can't help myself.
You could just Venmo me next time. Just Venmo me whatever you're gonna gamble.
Really, you wouldn't mind? Oh wait, just Venmo you what I would lose.
Yeah. In general,
I thought you were gonna bet. I was already be like, wait, really? Can I really? Because you don't know how many people I was gonna call, like my sister, and be like, hey, can you set up an account for me? But Liz was asking me if I'm still going, but there's no sports to gamble on, and I am actually not as degenerate as you think, because I will not bet on darts, and I will not bet on cricket. And whatever they were playing during this time, they imagined stuff you could bet on, the lottery numbers that were going to be picked. They were desperate for anything.
Right.
But I've heard that the racetrack is opening up on July 3rd, so I will be going down there again, I think, too.
Nice, but there's no audience. There's no audience allowed?
What? Well, what? Oh, yeah. I guess you're.
Yeah, just dress up like a horse.
I can still go there to place wagers, though. No.
Try to break in.
Well, I guess I'll still have to go and place wagers. Well, that's not fun if you're not going to be there. That's the only time horse racing is good.
Mike, that sounded like almost like the beginning of a Woody Allen joke. Like he dressed up as a horse and then he placed second.
Oh yeah.
No, that's the moose story.
Right.
The moose, right. The couple dressed up as the moose.
But David, if you dress up like a moose, you're not going to be able to get into the racetrack. That is.
Are you sure?
I mean, yeah, give it a shot.
Actually, I was talking to Marina yesterday, and she said that she's opening for Gaffigan, who's doing a show at the racetrack in July. I guess a drive-in show.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's doing a couple of those.
But I was that's great. I'll be at the track anyway, because if they're going to open up, but I guess you're right. I guess you can't watch.
Well, maybe a drive-in at the racetrack as people drive up on their horses. Is that just for the jockeys?
Well, it's going to be a real gamble.
That would be awesome.
With the virus.
I usually have my birthdays at the track. I mean, I'm a total degenerate. It's hard. I used to bring my nieces, always like, do we have to go to the track again? Yes. It's going to be my winter. You know, like
Ted,
I got an
Ted,
ice.
I think that I just want to amplify what you just said for David. Like, you could just see you're mad that everyone left you here to die, but being in New York at the time of Corona is, as Ted said, the ultimate gamble. So just view that every day. You're winning your life.
That's a good point, I guess. Yeah, I suppose so. But I still have been definitely thinking about moving out. I mean, I guess everybody is, but then I keep thinking, Woody Allen was on, you mentioned Woody Allen. He was on, Alec Baldwin did a podcast with him the other day. It was great. I talked for about 40 minutes, and it's great the way he also approaches it. Woody, I work for NPR, so I wouldn't be allowed not to ask this. That paternity rap a couple of years, you know, the way he peppers the question in, but he does ask, it's good. But he was talking about how New York always recovers, you know, 9/11, the 70s alone, you know, bad mayors, bad things. It always recovers. And I guess, you know, certainly right now, we'd definitely think about moving out, but probably in a couple of months.
You got to wonder, Dave, like, because so much of the character of what you think about when you think of like old New York, or, you know, I mean, I grew up in Queens. So, you know, what you associate with New York has kind of largely been disappearing anyway over the past recent decades. And now with the pandemic, you kind of wonder, like, the mom and pop and a lot of the character of local neighborhoods, how much further is that going to impact like what we think of as like, you know, the lifeblood of these small businesses and stuff? I'm kind of curious.
That's a good point too.
I really wish that they, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Veronica. Sorry.
I wish that they sometimes would close down Costco and close down Lowe's and open up all the little guys and just make them do the social distancing and the smaller capacity. I don't understand why those guys are getting so screwed. It just sucks.
It's funny because I feel the exact opposite way.
Do you?
I actually do. The reason why I want to move to Jersey is to go to Costco.
No, I know.
It is go to Lowe's, drive my car up to the door and put my car in the driveway and slowly bring the packages back into the house with time and nobody honking or beeping. Yeah. I mean, I really want that badly.
And I do admit I like the Costco trip. I will say
it's kind of fun, right? I know.
When you need to buy in bulk, but like there's like a little market called Seabras. There's a lot of Portuguese people that live here, by the way. So great food.
I don't like this town. It's got a lot. It's very mixed.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's not for me.
But there's like it's a supermarket that's more, you know, like local stuff. And it's just like it's like a few cents more expensive, but it's like, just do it and support these guys. So I don't know.
If I may, I would say I support David, you moving out of New York. I'd love for everyone to move out except for me. Everyone go to Costco, and then naturally, then New York will be just full of people who didn't leave, and we can all go into, and we won't even have to, like, I shop at the Park Slope Food Co-op, and they let in, I think, only like 35 people at a time, you know, for only 4 people per aisle, you know, maybe 10 people in produce because it's multiple aisles. But it's like sometimes the line to get in is like around a few blocks, and it's like, you know, a couple hours wait depending when you go. But I mean, I'm glad. It both stresses me out when I'm there because they're taking it so seriously, but that's good that they are. So like, I would love for that to happen naturally, just for enough of the thousands of people that are members to leave town so that I can just go in. And I also want other people to shop as well. I want everyone to, like, while I'm wishing, I want the disease to go away. Yeah.
Don't backpedal.
It is kind of great that the city's quiet, and that's why I was getting upset that it was going back to normal, because it has been so driving or not walking around, riding around. You know, they have those new motorcycles now, those Revels, and just riding those around. It's been, you can go right down Park Avenue with no traffic whatsoever. It's kind of a dream.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird what you look at is like the positives and the negatives, like, you know, I'm always liking the negatives. That's more fun to talk about. But the positive of like, we went to this place called South Mountain Reservation in Milburn. It's really pretty. There's like, you know, waterfalls and stuff. And we went there at like 10 in the morning on a Sunday. And then by noon, it was packed. And I was like, ooh, and it wasn't COVID. I was just like, ooh, people. It's just,
yeah.
Like,
right. If you're going to Milburn and you're going to waterfalls, you're just like, I want space and I want to be left alone. Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Well, this will be, hopefully, as, you know, herd immunity is developed, as hopefully a vaccine is developed, we will all, I mean, we're all going through a kind of collective trauma, many people more than others, but it's certainly like I'm more fearful of just going out of my house than I ever have been. I'm like not an agoraphobic person, but this will now, for anyone in the future, up to decades from now, hopefully you'll be alive and well and able to, when people are like, hey, why don't you want to hug? Why do you want to come near me? Why don't you want to come over? You're like, it just, you know, I went through this pandemic, so get away from me. You know, just please respect my cultural and geographic history.
I like it because there's no fear of missing out anymore. You know, many times I'm not
sincerely
down at the Cellar as much as you guys are. And sometimes I'm like, geez, should I go to the Cellar tonight? Because I'll miss out on something. Something always exciting happens at the Cellar. And then I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I really should have gone. And now that's not an issue.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right. It's very odd. There's also not a lot of things to talk about, except for how many videos you watched. You know, it's like, well, I watched 2 hours of, you know, like videos, like, you know.
Yeah, and I still can't commit to watching movies and videos. So I watch like at 3 a.m. I will watch I've done this twice now. I'll watch the last episode of The Nanny and then the pilot, because they're on right next to each other, and see how it's changed. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I did it with Will and Grace the other night because they show them in order. And then I did it with Alf. That's what I've been doing.
Oh, I
during
couldn't
the
do it.
coronavirus.
No. My husband wanted to watch Alpha. I'm like, no, I refuse to. Even when Alpha's out, I hated Alpha.
I never watched it either. It's fun to watch at 3 a.m. though.
Can I ask you guys? I don't mean to, take this in a different direction, but I've been reading some books. Are you guys reading any books?
No.
Ted, you seem like the likeliest candidate here who already hasn't said no.
Mike.
Yeah, well, it's right here due to everything that's going on. I mean, I go back to this book pretty often anyway, but James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time.
I just am finishing up Ta-Nehisi Coates's We Were 8 Years in Power, and there's one, it's like 8 essays, and one before each one he like introduces it with where he was at in life at that point. And one of the essays, I think maybe The Case for Reparations, or one of the ones in the book that he wrote for The Atlantic over the past few years, he said he's like, James Baldwin's writing is so beautiful in a specific way. And he's like, I want to write something like, I think he talked to his editor or his publisher, and they were like, oh yeah, nobody writes like that guy. And he's like, I want to try to write like that guy. And I'm like, well, this guy writes good. And so I'm like, I think I have one James Baldwin book, which is the next one that I'm going to read. But have you read other stuff by him, or is that a fave?
I've read like essays and things like that, but I haven't. I think I read part of like Go Tell It on the Mountain in high school. But yeah, that's the one that I kind of gravitate back to. I mean, he's got so many great videos on YouTube too. He almost reminds me of a great comic in that, like, like great comics, like once they start talking, you're locked in. Like James Baldwin is like that, he's just so captivating. And he's funny too when he wants to be, but he's usually just driving home some sort of truth about America. He's really he's potent.
I started reading You Only Live Twice, but half the chapters are just describing Japan because nobody had been there yet, I guess, when he wrote it, and it got boring. It's not as good as the movie.
Who wrote You Only Live Twice?
Ian Fleming.
Oh, okay. Nice.
James Bond book.
Right.
The movie is so much better. But you must become Japanese, Mr. Bond.
That's really funny that a James Bond book is boring. That's
there's like 4 chapters they're just describing Japan and Japanese culture, and it's just a little, it's a James Bond book. I'm waiting for action.
Yeah.
Even in the book, in the movie, it opens with, he goes, why do Chinese girls taste different than other girls? And she goes, you think we better, huh? No, not better, just different, right? I mean, I don't even know if they can air that anymore. Everybody's so uptight. Meanwhile, as a 13-year-old boy, it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen in my life.
I have a 6-year-old and I read Captain Underpants. That was recently.
I heard that's the best. I have the Harry Potter books, right? I'm holding the microphone.
Moving fiction.
I've been watching those, or reading those. You heard about SpongeBob being gay today? That's the big news.
I did. I think he's bi, but I don't know. It's frustrating.
I think people have lost their minds.
So
how is that news?
Exactly? I saw that trending, but I didn't really like. I was in the middle of something. So what happened? The writer of the show said that the creator said that.
No, he's dead. The creator's dead, right? So I don't know who the hell is saying that he's gay.
Must be some of SpongeBob's boyfriends, I guess, coming out of the woodwork of the sea. I mean,
who cares? Why would
I know my daughter watches it and is like, oh my God, so gay. Like, that's what she says.
Why is it necessary to, why now?
Well, maybe because it's Pride Month. I feel like it's a valuable, if you're going to come out, now's a fine time. And especially because if you watch the show, it doesn't seem, I bet they're not like, revamping the whole history. I haven't watched much SpongeBob, if at all. But my guess is that the same way that, when Dumbledore was decreed to be gay, that it never came. Hey, they're like, what about his wife? Oh, there was never in the literature, there was nothing one way or the other. So why not after that be like, oh yeah, might as well have been, could have been, or why not have Idris Elba play James Bond, or, a Norse god that the people are like, hey, the Norse gods were white and non-existent, why not? have fun, because it also doesn't erase, like when there's female Ghostbusters, people are like, but that erases my childhood. Like, what erased your childhood is your adulthood. Your childhood doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that movie just happened to be bad. So, they were just saying that Nickelodeon used it in their Pride Month tweet.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Celebrating with.
So I think, is that Stephen Hillenbrand in the right? Do you know? Is that the creator, or is that the voice of SpongeBob? We don't know.
That might be somebody else who has a show.
I think what's funny to me.
What did you say?
It's a transgender actor that's on Henry Danger.
Oh, why'd they put him? Oh, I see. For Pride Month. Got it.
Pride Month. I feel, I always say that I was raised by my parents until I was like, 18. Then I went to college, and then I moved to New York, and I was raised by gay men in bars. That's how I always, because I spent so much time in gay bars with gays and lesbians. And when people used to call people trannies, which you can't say anymore, which whatever, that's what they labeled themselves when back in my day when I used to hang out in the gay bars. But I don't think many I'm going to go on a limb here and say a lot of gay guys, at least that I know, would be sitting here going like, they had better make a SpongeBob character like gay, because otherwise my life, it's just not that. It's those are the types of things that people, if it is true, fine, who cares? But what I'm saying is, I don't think that people, that it helps the gay movement. I don't think it helps. Like, I don't think anybody is like, it's just a strange thing to me that it's just this, like for example, in that movie, there was a new movie out, oh gosh, I can't remember, Outward or something like that. Some movie, it came out and there was like a lesbian character in it, supposedly, whatever. It had zero bearing, like, as sexual, how we describe this, being gay or lesbian or transgender or anything in the spectrum has nothing to do with your personality or who you are. Like, it shouldn't have any bearing on you as a human being. So to say like, oh, this character's gay, it's like, well, how does that? It doesn't matter. I just feel like
what they do nowadays. They feel they must.
Well, can I offer a possible explanation that, as in my interpretation of like these kinds of issues, when one of the new Star Wars movies came out recently, I remember Kumail Nanjiani posting that he was excited to see it because there were like one planet full of like brown people, like Kumail is from Pakistan. And he's like, it was exciting to see a movie full of brown people that were like the heroes, that they were like on the side of the good guys. They weren't just like terrorists. They weren't like, and he was like, growing up, I didn't have anything like that. Like there was no TV shows, no movies where I could watch unless it was like a movie from that part of the world. But, American mainstream Hollywood didn't offer people that looked like him being just regular people. So I feel like it must be so for gay children, queer children, trans children of, who may not even know that they are, they might not have the language or the determination that they will eventually be queer, like to see like, and that there are like queer characters and that it doesn't have to be a big deal, a part of the thing. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm queer and this show exists.
Well, I guess what makes SpongeBob, like in the show, he doesn't have a significant other or anything like that. So there's no, I'm just saying it's almost like, it seems like it's just sort of like chosen at random.
Sandy Squirrel. That's why I thought he
also,
liked Sandy Squirrel. I thought they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I guess not.
Based on what we just saw, that post, it said that like Nickelodeon was celebrating Pride Month with their LGBTQ friends and allies. So I feel like they're not even necessarily saying anything other than Nickelodeon and the creators of and the art. I feel like it's probably more people upset about it who just don't like gayness or queerness that are reading further into it. They're like, I don't want them to be gay. I don't want them to talk about being gay. I don't want them to be friends of being gay. But I feel like that tweet seems like it just seems to me to be a nice tweet.
Mike, you're right. It's just like that Ghostbusters thing you're telling with the girls. There are people saying like, you just ruined SpongeBob for me. I see what you're saying. Right. It's that's exactly the thing. It's funny. It's a CNN headline today. Is SpongeBob, did Nickelodeon just say SpongeBob was gay? You're right. Everybody's reading into it. It's probably just a nice gesture they did.
And that's
what we do.
Sorry, we had I've had 3 months to be locked down with my daughter, and a lot happened with a child.
Why? Oh, because of the COVID.
Yeah. So
I like to
she's
pretend
sick.
I don't know that's happening. Oh, the virus.
The 6, right? So lots of questions and lots of different things happen. And we had the gay talk. We were watching Sugar Rush, which I fucking love that show. If you like baking, oh my God, these people are so talented. So we were watching Sugar Rush, and there was a gay couple on, and this guy, he kissed his husband, and Evelyn she goes, that's weird. And I go, well, guys can like guys and girls can like girls, and everybody can kind of look at everybody. She goes, really? And I go, yeah, they're married. And she goes, they're married? And I was like, yeah. She goes, well, I don't know. It just seems like weird. And I go, that's okay that you think it's different. But you know what? Everybody can live and have a happy life, and you respect people and be kind and thoughtful and all those things and And it was like, case closed. That's it. There was no big heavy discussion. So it's kind of interesting that it's almost, I don't feel, and I don't want it in any way to come across, and I hate this whole world where I feel like we have to fucking backpedal nonstop. I certainly don't give a flying fuck if SpongeBob is gay. I just don't think that most gay people are like longing to have a gay cartoon character. Real gay characters in films, yes. Real, like gay and lesbian and trans directors and things like, yes. But cartoon, I don't think that it's like a big,
right.
It's important for us to start young. We have to start indoctrinating them young, and that's how you do it with cartoons. So
I guess,
true.
Yeah,
but that was nice that you told her that. My dad told me the exact opposite.
I'm sure. Well, my parents, it's funny because my parents are very Catholic, but I remember them having just saying you always just have to be kind. Always be kind. Even if, and what's funny is it's interesting because I told one of my friends and she was like, yeah, but she said that it was weird. And I go, yeah, but in her mind, it is weird. She's not used to seeing it. So that's okay that if she thinks what she thinks is okay, as long as she understands it's just something different that she's not.
It's very important to get that started now, because sometimes I was watching, I did this last time, but yeah, sometimes I watch the Disney Channel, listen, I'm home alone. I don't know what's going on. And I saw like they were like 10 and I saw a black and a white person kissing. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? I'm still confused by this. This is the way I was brought up, where I don't know if you guys remember, I'm older than you guys, but there was this show called Soap. And
oh yeah, Billy Crystal.
Right, Billy Crystal. And there was the guy who actually was on Blossom. I think he was directing, and he was dating a black girl. And he kept looking around to see if anybody was watching. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way it was, like, and now, but it's great that nobody, a lot of kids are growing up where they don't care.
They don't care.
Like I was thinking about, I knew so many gay guys in high school that couldn't come out, and because I was in the theater. Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing. Like somebody like Mateo, I tell him this all the time. I'm like, you should talk to Rick. You have no idea what it was probably like for Rick starting out in comedy, and stuff like that, or
sure,
even Jim David or something like that. Mateo's got free reign where he can, say he's gay and it's not a big deal, but that's a lucky break that somebody like Rick kind of paved the way for him to do, right?
I did bring up.
Unless Rick wasn't out and I just outed him. Is that,
Oh yeah, Rick. Ooh.
Rick and SpongeBob on the same day. It's a big day.
That's a shock I can't handle. But we did talk about, I did tell her, I said, there are people who don't like gay people. They really don't like them and they're really mean to them. And I was like, that's why we have to be like extra nice. Like it was actually very like, it makes me like, it makes me tear up because it's like exposing her to something I never got. I never knew gay people until I got to college, and I majored in theater and hung out with a whole bunch of, guys.
And you only knew gay people. Yeah.
And then I only knew
the theater.
People, and then that was shocking. Yes. But anyway.
Can I say the idea that your child said, how old is this child?
She's 6.
32.
I mean, so thank you. Very fun joke. The fact that she said it was weird. I mean, it's a child is just like, kind of a sponge, like SpongeBob. That's why it's important to have sponges. Like a child takes in the world. And if the child, like weird literally just means like anomalous, like different than the other things that like she probably hasn't been, if that's maybe the first time she saw a kiss between two people of the same gender.
Yeah.
And I forget where I saw this recently, but the goal, I think Aziz had a joke years ago where Aziz Ansari, he's a comedian, and he
right.
I don't know if you know other Azizes, but he had a joke about gay marriage or gay people, and he's like, I just want people to. I'm paraphrasing, and it's much funnier than I'll make it probably. It's like, I just want people, like, why do people get angry when they see something they don't understand? Why can't they get like amazed and curious? Like, why can't people see something they don't understand and act like, I think he said like a black man watching a magician, being like, watching it and being like, what? That's amazing. Like, why can't we turn confusion into curiosity and potential celebration, especially obviously when it's not hurting anyone? Like, these men kissing doesn't do anything to your daughter other than to now educate her that, oh, there's people who like things and have experiences different than yours. Probably as a woman, you've had experiences in life where like you have, like where men in this patriarchal society are like, this is the way it is. And you're like, I actually have a different experience than that as well. Like, whatever, I'm barely in the minority as like a Jew. And I'm like, oh, I get all this Christmas stuff. And I also know this Jewish stuff. And like, but as white people, we have one experience. As women, you have an experience. As gay people, as people of color, like, and growing up, the more majority you are, the more privilege we have, like the more we just literally don't know what it's like until like through the eyes of a child. She's like, that's different. And you're like, yeah, it's different. Like, you just have to change the tone. It's different. It's great.
Also,
well, it's like, sorry.
It's funny when your parents tell you in a good cohesive manner. Like, I always think about, I almost feel bad for Mel Gibson. I feel like his father, who clearly hated Jews and everyone, I guess, like if your dad tells you something matter-of-factly and isn't yelling and screaming and blasting insults, then you're probably gonna, like you say, it's gonna be like a sponge. You're gonna think of it. My dad told me years ago, I said, why aren't there any black quarterbacks in the NFL? And he said, oh, because you have to be very intelligent to play quarterback in football. And he said it just matter-of-factly, not like he wasn't using a derogatory term, but the whole statement is derogatory. But the way he said it, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I see what you're saying. I mean, this, and I always think Mel Gibson's dad goes, Dad, why are Jews so evil? He goes, oh, well, the reason they're evil is because they smell horrible and everything about them. I mean, if you're saying it like that, you're probably going to buy it. I mean, you got to be smart enough when you get older to figure it out, go to college and meet some other people. But it would be easy to fall for if your dad is, or whoever your parents are that you look up to, are saying it in a calm, cohesive manner, as if it's a matter of fact.
So or takeaway is if you're trying to spread hatred of any kind or ignorance, a measured approach is the best way.
Well, 45 minutes late. The
is he
great
here?
Tony Woods.
What's up, everybody?
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Woods, best known for the lowest point score in Star Search history.
Yes, sir.
I think I had the second lowest score. That's why I don't mind saying it.
No, it did.
Tony,
what happened is
you're headlining the Zoom. Tony, take it over.
Okay, what happened is the joke was crazy too hip for the room.
For Star Search?
The opening joke was.
Oh, I remember. It was the African pygmies.
All the way. No. I said, here I am, all the way on Star Searching. I can't remember my joke. Which was a joke, and they were like, "Oh no!"
This is very embarrassing for this man. Oh no! Tony, also, thank you for sharing your email address with us and perhaps the world. Your
what do you mean? I don't know why I did that.
You're on AOL. Nobody believes that anyway.
You can change it.
Yeah, do you know? As a matter of fact.
It's nice to see you, by the way.
Good to see you. I'm going to tell you why I have that email address. It's kind of because of you, I guess. You had, this is like in the early 90s, but you showed us a video. You know, the one where the monkey takes his finger and goes,
smells it and then falls off.
Boom. And then I think you said something like, well, it's on your email. Everybody sees funny stuff on the email. I'm like, I don't have a computer. And that is why I bought a computer.
Back in the 90s? I still have an AOL address too. I was one of the first people to have an
at that time
address.
What was it, $100 a month? It was like $100
yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it was really that and buying a website, like when I bought the Sklar Brothers website because I hated them. Sorry, that was supposed to not be
Really?
out loud. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it cost me like $70 a year for all three of their names, Randy and Jason, SklarBrothers.com, SklarBros.com.
Do you still have it?
No, I let it go now because the joke was already it was beautiful. This guy, Bart Coleman, was like, they were trying to get their website like years later. And he goes, "Why does Dave Juskow on your website?" They're like, "What?" So it kind of all worked out the way I wanted it to.
Well,
now we're okay, I guess.
Yeah. Everything used to be super expensive. I was just thinking recently.
What have y'all been talking about?
Oh, yeah. Racism mostly. We figured we'd get it out of the way before you got here.
Tony, you're
still there? Oh, no, there he is. He's back. Are you in DC?
I'm still. Yeah,
you've been the whole time.
Well, right now in Silver Spring. Do you know the area at all?
Yeah,
Maryland.
You guys know Silver Spring?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's
outside of DC.
I tell you, all of us. There's right in this area is well, not now, but like we all grew up kind of. What's her name? Wendy, DC Benny,
right.
Lewis
That
Black,
makes sense.
Dave,
Chicago.
Tommy Davidson.
Is Rachel from there?
Yeah, Rachel's from not Bethesda, right?
Rachel? Yeah, well, but Bethesda and Silver Spring like neighbor each other.
Right. I keep forgetting she's a DC comic too, technically.
Judah's from Maryland.
Judah's from there too?
And Judah.
Oh, I didn't know
Judah and Patton. Well, Patton's from. I think Patton's lived in Virginia. He lived on the Virginia side. Because this is DC. Yeah. What's this guy's? Donnell Rollins.
Right.
Remember Jim? What's his name? Drew Carey show.
Yeah.
Remember the guy who was the UPS guy?
No.
I don't remember.
I can only think of Colin Quinn dressed up as the UPS guy on the Larry Sanders show. So I'm getting the two television shows confused.
Is that close? Yeah.
That's close, man. That's close.
That's a pretty
he also played Jethro in the remake of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, that guy. Okay. Yeah, no, I got you. Right. No, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Him and Donnell went to the same school. You remember that movie called Remember the Titans?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's their high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are they characters in the movie?
I don't know. They didn't play football.
Remember.
Oh, okay.
And plus, it was in the 60s, man. They were
okay. So no for two reasons. Fair enough.
Tony, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How did it feel getting all the? You got a lot of love. I noticed, like on the Mark Twain Awards, Chappelle was talking about you, and I saw you in the article and stuff. It made me happy to see it. How did it feel for you?
It felt great, and then came the pandemonium. Yeah, no, it was cool. It was because he did it the night before at the Improv, and that was in October. And the guy was sitting there talking to me, and is Jason here?
Jason who?
Jason Bourne. No, Jason Steinberg.
Why would he be here?
Jason. I was just because Jason was getting on his nerves that night. He was just, and the guy was like, "I'm from the New York Times." I'm like, "Okay, sure you are." I didn't act like that, but I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, Jason Zinnemann, the New York Times writer.
Yeah, but Jason Steinberg was
annoying him.
Got it.
Yeah, annoying him. Yeah, and then I'm like, well. And he goes, "I'm from New York Times." I'm like, all right, cool, and it was a lot of stuff to do that night. And so I was hosting the show, and Chris Spencer just ran up and started hosting the show. But I was supposed to host the show that night, but Dave gave a shout out that night. I was like, oh, that's cool, he at the Improv, blah, blah, blah. And then when he did it at the Kennedy Center, I was like, for real? My man.
That's awesome. That's like way cool. That's like the highest honor you can get, right? I mean, that's pretty much it.
Well, I think the Mark Twain is pretty much the.
Oh, I think
Oh, the shout out at the Mark Twain. Well, I'm saying, I mean, if you're not getting the award, the shout out from.
What could be more of an honor?
That was good though, but.
I think that's pretty
I don't
cool.
know, let me think. But he started calling me his. He said I was his OG. So of course all the comedians started calling me the OG. But of course I changed it to Oscar Goldman. You guys know who that is, right?
From the $6 Million Man. Of course I do.
Exactly. So he's the $6 Million Man, and I'm Oscar Goldman.
That's awesome. Can I be Dr. Rudy Wells?
You could be the bionic woman.
Oh, I have no problem with that. I love her.
That's the greatest honor.
I'm going to be Lindsay Wagner.
Yeah.
Watching a lot of that too. I'm watching the $6
Million
Man and Lindsay Wagner.
Because I don't know if you guys know, but like in the comedy community, whatever Dave does, whenever he does it, everybody bothers me about, hey, so what'd you think about this? What'd you think about that? And I'm like, and nobody ever believes that I don't watch comedy. I mean, you guys see me at the club, right? I'm never like, ooh, let me see this guy's set. No, I'm like, hey man, how long before I go on? So how do you do that with those backgrounds? That's nice.
We have newfangled computers. You're asking us, you have an AOL address. I mean, this is why you can't do that. Do you live by yourself, or are you? How have you been?
No, look, I got my postcards from all over the world. Like,
well, we can kind of see it.
It's Cardiff Castle, Dubai, Toronto, hotspots, Macau, stuff like that.
Hotspots for the coronavirus. You're just looking at the lot.
Speaking of hotspots for the coronavirus,
where have you been
today?
Where have you been living? Have you lived by yourself, or do you?
No, I'm here. My mom is here. Yeah, man.
That's where you've been staying the whole time?
Yeah, since I left New York.
Well, I meant just for the last 3 months. I mean, you have a house or an apartment? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I was trying to see if she was listening. I'm an only child, so somebody, yeah.
This is being broadcast. You know other people are watching, right?
Fuck them.
Now everybody knows you're an only child. Oh no.
But everybody calls me their brother, so I'm good.
Okay, so I have an only child, so I need to know. Did you feel any longing for siblings or anything like that we hear about?
Are you an only child too?
No, my daughter. I only have one child.
I am one as well.
Is that right?
You
Mike?
are.
Oh yeah.
And the most confusing thing is when you see brothers who fight, like go at it, like
Kevin Brennan and his brother Neil.
Yeah, that is
crazy.
That is the craziest thing to me, because I'm like, do you know how good it is to have somebody?
That's because they have too many brothers. They got too many.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between. There's 10 of them. It's too many. But it would drive me crazy when Neil and Kevin would fight, and Danny. It would drive me crazy. I hated it. It just made me so upset. I'm like, why are they fighting? They're the same interests,
Ted, which one of you guys used to go to Eddie's house, Eddie Brill's, to play poker?
I used to go there. I didn't play. I just sat around. I didn't like poker.
Now, yeah, well, I didn't know how to play either. But anyway, remember me and Neil lived together. We lived in Jay's apartment when he got that show called Camp Wilder.
Jay Moore.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Jay Moore.
Yeah.
So I had just gotten out of the service, and when I first moved to New York, was at 90, and so I was living with my dad up in Washington Heights. And so Barry was like, you can never get here on time. And but I was on the A Train Express. So really I could get there on time. I was just late. So he goes, hey man, so he put me up at me and Neil lived together over there. But anyway, we used to go play poker. I only went a few times. We were over there. and Jay was punching Neil. And I'm like, dude, like I had to stop him. Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Jay
and
Moore
then
was punching Neil Brennan.
he was punching Neil. Boom. And you remember how Jay was, man. He used to punch Jay Russo. He used to punch Jay Russo. So I'm like, I made him stop, like, punch me, so you can feel what. Anyway, that's the night I found out that he was Kevin's brother.
Oh, you didn't even know ahead of time? I met him through Kevin. So when he was like 11, you know, and so I always knew like Kevin brought him to the city, showed him all the best comics.
Because remember when he was at the door to Boston, like we all might be standing outside and then like Kevin would come and then he would say, yeah, you're on in 2 minutes. And he would say something like, suck my dick or something. Just like, so I figured the last thing I thought they were siblings.
It's so funny. Yeah, I met them that way, and we spent a lot of, you know, he brought him to town when he was like a little boy, and you know, he introduced him to everybody. I mean, that's why it bothers me so much. I don't know why they can't get along. He knows he kind of owes Kevin a bunch of stuff, but then he went, you know, to this other place, and Kevin's mad at that, and they're all
David. It really bothers me how bothered you are about all of this, and
we were very close.
I hope you can get over it.
We go on the road with Louis. But Dave, check it out. When we were, because I was trying to get to the bottom of it, and he goes, you know, he has never seen my children. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I heard that too.
You know, I was like, because sometimes you think it's Kevin, because you know Kevin, but and like, what do you mean he's never met them? He says he's never met my children.
Yeah, that was surprising. I found that out too. In fact, I saw them when they were in California, and I actually thought Neil would. Yeah, that was surprising. Irish people. Huh?
Veronica, can I share my experience as an only child? To respond to your question, I've done some. I read like some statistics that people think that you might end up being like more isolated as an only child than a person with siblings, but people end up approximately the same, because I think only children seek out, you know, the kind of camaraderie and like friendship and connections and relationships just outside. Like, I think I became more social because at home there was like nobody to be friends with other than my mom and dad, or mom alone or dad alone, depending. So I, you know, just
don't forget about your action figures.
Oh yeah, definitely. So just,
and I gotta say, your backdrop does suggest a certain isolation.
I don't know what you mean, Ted. This is by choice. I'm just trying to stay away, social distanced from the whole world, you know.
Well, we have to wrap up, but it has been a lot of fun. Obviously, I would go around and ask where everybody's performing, but I guess that's not.
Gosh.
I know Ted has a video coming out. What did you say? Tomorrow or Thursday?
On Thursday, it's called Cut Up, and yeah, you can find it it'll be on social media and stuff. I'll be talking about it.
Anybody else have anything coming out on social media or video?
I did release a new album about a month ago. It's called AKA. Ted, you tweeted something very nice about it, so you can check out my new album AKA and Ted's tweet. I did also take a photo of the tweet, put it on Instagram, so you can find Ted's words about my album on a number of websites, Facebook as well. But yeah, I'm real happy with it. Glad I got to record it in the before times. What a gratitude that we didn't even know that would be. Like, I've always been grateful to get to perform, but now in the absence, even more to have a record of something that you're proud of. So I'm excited for your new album as well. And your new special with video and audio.
Yeah. I called it Cut Up because it's sets that I did at the Cellar and the Underground that I just had my editor put that together as an hour special.
But Ted, did you know that a cut up is also like a word for like a class clown? That it's coincidentally, that's great. Who are you? Me?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
Do you know what cut up means in Atlanta?
What?
Oh, like, yeah, to cut up.
It means sex, coochie. like
But
you say, I gotta leave. I gotta go get some cut up. It means yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to
So
tell
yeah,
my wife.
yeah.
I'll tell my wife that.
That's what cut up means. Yeah, cut up means like when they say I'm all up in the cut.
Ah, well,
Yes.
Sort of like gas.
But in Atlanta, it means
Veronica, please.
You know, I'm in there.
We're all gentlemen.
I just meant it as a double entendre, but it's like a triple, I guess.
Triple one, yeah.
Man, you're gonna sell extra in Atlanta if that's correct. Yeah.
And people are going to be really disappointed. That's what's going to happen in Atlanta.
Let them find out the hard way.
It was really nice to see everybody, and I can't wait to see everybody at the legendary Comedy Cellar, where if and when we ever come back, well, we will. Comedy Cellar.
Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can
Tony.
I say one more thing? Because I was like, I know I've never been to Dave's house, but damn, that house looks so familiar.
Lots of people have told me, they're like, wow, your place looks great. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I just let it go.
But I'm like, man, I've seen, the only thing missing is the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. It's not there.
No.
Yeah, it's because he's got the bike. That is the set of Jerry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, right there, he has a bicycle. He has the bicycle on it. Yeah.
In the hallway, right? Like in.
Yeah, it's because when I'm at the bar, I play those little the picture video games where you see what's different on both pitches.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like in Highlights magazine.
Veronica, Veronica, you have it's usually people play with the nudes, but it's even more complicated when you just do a scene. And it's like, you know, you have to, sometimes it gets down to different clouds and stuff. So boom.
All right. Well, that's our show for today. Great to see everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show. Bye, everybody.
Thanks all.
Bye.